I'm Nova Safo, I'm a correspondent at Marketplace, and I'm going to be answering some questions that are commonly searched on the internet. So this is one of those things where you get in early, you get ahead. Delaware has, for over 100 years, become a spot that is not friendly to corporations, but that understands corporations, let's just say. So it is part of its fabric, the legal system in Delaware. There's a special court for corporations and corporate law. Judges are experts in corporate law who serve on that court. They decide cases for corporations. There are certain tax advantages for corporations that are based there. So this kind of has a self-fulfilling kind of cycle where many corporations are there, and if you are a corporation, you want to be there too, because it's kind of fulfills this cycle. And in fact, many times if you're a startup and you want to be able to raise funds, a lot of the people who give you money want you to be incorporated in Delaware because of the ease with which corporations can file documents, get things approved to the government and court system there. Does the economy ever deflate? It does. And if you're 20 years old or maybe 25 years old, you might remember that it did not so long ago. The Great Recession, the economy deflated. Housing prices, which are a huge factor in the economy, plummeted. That led to people getting unemployed, businesses pulling back. What happens then? Demand decreased. Oil demand decreased, which is very important. Oil prices plummeted. And that undergirds so much about how the economy prices goods and products. And so we had deflation for a while during the Great Recession. Why do CEOs get golden parachutes? Well, the simplest answer is because they can. CEOs are few and far, they are in demand, and it is part of the benefits package for a CEO to have some kind of protection, some kind of guarantee of payment should they be terminated for taking on that particular job. Now, there are other reasons. And one of the reasons the golden parachutes kind of existed is because also it was a way to guard against mergers sometimes where they acted as a poison pill. People don't really believe that happens anymore, that it does act as a poison pill anymore, because if you merged and fired the CEO, you had to pay him a whole bunch of money. And that was also a way the thinking went, that if a CEO knew they had a golden parachute, that they would maybe act a little bit more objectively if there were merger talks, because even if they were going to be let go, they knew they would be provided for. So many reasons, but really the crux of it is because they can. Why do banks charge overdraft fees? It's very lucrative. Overdraft fees bring in billions of dollars into the banking industry. Many of the major banks charge them. We know that government regulators have been cracking down on this a little bit, and some banks have started to move away or at least reduce overdraft fees because they are seen as a tax on the people who can least afford it. They tend to affect people who have less income, who are living paycheck to paycheck, and they can bring in billions. I think in 2019 they brought in something like $16 billion into the banking industry. They are a huge source of profits. And think about it, if a bank is in an environment where interest rates are very low, it can charge very little for the debt it puts out, the loans it puts out. So what's one way to pump up the profits? Fees. Overdraft fees are one of the main elements of that. Why do rich people play golf? That's a really good question, and I'm not the one to ask about sports, but I have some theories. And the main one is that the cost of entry, it's not that rich people play golf, it's that everyone else doesn't. And I think it's because the cost of entry is so high. Think about it, if you get a set of golf clubs, it's $250 to $1,000 just to have the thing that helps you play the sport. And then you have these things called green fees, where you have to pay a fee every time you play on the golf course. And those can range from tens of dollars to hundreds of dollars, depending on the golf course. Sometimes you have to be in a private club to be able to play there. So the entry is limited. And I think that is why it tends to be a limited pool in terms of the economic range, the income range of who plays golf and who doesn't.